Hello, hello, and welcome back to Habitual. Today we have a restorative yoga flow to open up your hip flexors, glutes, back of body, legs. It's gonna be yummy and slow, so go ahead and roll out your mat and meet me on your hands and knees. On your inhale, open up, tilt your pelvis forward, roll your shoulders backwards. And exhale, come into cat, tucking under. Tucking your pelvis under, your chin in. Inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. Inhale, neutral spine. Start to find barrel roll. Shift your hips over to the right side. Move up through center and to the left. Shifting over to the right, up through center and to the left. And switch directions. Inviting in your neck for this movement. And on your next inhale, come onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes under, send your hips backwards, downward facing dog. Internally rotate your elbow creases so that they're facing the front of the room. Draw your heels down, slightly tilt your pelvis forward, belly button in towards your spine. Big inhale. And exhale, start to pedal out your feet, walking your dog, finding a different calf stretch on each side of your leg. And then on your next inhale, come up onto your tippy toes, and exhale, send your heels closer to the mat, pressing into your hands, sending your heels down. Inhale onto your tippy toes, and exhale, heels down to the mat. Inhale, roll forward onto your hands and feet, coming into high plank. Exhale, drop your knees, walk your hands up. Take your right leg out in front of you so that your right ankle is right under your right knee. Untuck your left toes. Inhale, hands up overhead. Letting your hip bones draw forward to the front of the room. Coming into Anjayasana. This is opening up our left hip flexor, our front of body. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling with your hands back behind you, finding a slight arch in your back. Here for 3 more breaths. If yours is a little more narrow, that's okay. You can be here, 90-degree bend in both knees. Just tuck your pelvis under. So find whatever version of this feels good in your hips. On your next exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Tuck your left toes under and walk your hands back, straightening your right leg, but keeping your hands down on the mat. If the mat is too far away from you, you can bring your hands up to your leg, resting on the quad, inside and outside of your leg. Here, pull your right heel backwards so that your hips stay in line with one another. Toes are coming back towards your face. This is a back of leg stretch going from your hamstring to your calves. Pull that right heel energetically towards your body, not actually moving it, but just giving a little bit of tension to the back of your leg. Inhale, walk your hands forward, come back into your version of Anjayasana, and exhale, walk your hands backwards. Inhale, walk forwards, and exhale, walk it back. Rotating between these for the next 4 breaths. Pausing in that seated half split, and walk your hands out in front of you, maybe bringing your chest down towards the mat a little bit. If you need to stay exactly where you were, that is a-okay. And bend into your right leg. Tuck your toes under on the left side and lift up into a low runner's lunge. Hands are on each side of your right foot. Left foot is back behind you, knee is straight. Plant your left hand, take your right hand up towards the ceiling. And exhale, right hand comes back down to the mat. Press into your hands, sweep your right leg back, downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs here, changing the stretch on the back body. Maybe you send your hips over to the left and then the right, wagging your tail. Inhale onto your tippy toes, roll forward, high plank, and exhale your knees down to the mat. Walk your hands up and then bring your left foot in front. Foot is under knee here. You can stay here if this is enough for you in the right hip flexor. If you would like more, step your foot out a little bit further, sending your hips forwards towards the front of the mat. Both hips are square, not opening up to the side of your mat. Hips are square to the front of your mat. Hands sweep up overhead, Anjayasana. Pulling your right hip forward energetically and your left hip backwards just to square off with the front of that mat. Shoulder blades are down your back, hands up overhead. Inhale, maybe you open your chest up towards the ceiling. Just finding a slightly deeper back bend here. And exhale, bring your hands down to your mat. Walk back into that seated half split. Hands are on the mat, flat-ish back. If that doesn't work, bring your hands up to your legs, finding it here. If having your hands down on the mat still isn't enough for you, you can walk your hands out in front, bringing your chest down towards your right or left quad. Find what feels good for you here. Keeping your right toes tucked under. Inhale here, pull that left hip backwards, right hip forward, just to square your hips off with the front of the mat. Keeping your left toes coming in towards your face. Inhale, walk your hands forward into that Anjayasana and walk your hands backwards, coming into that seated half splits. Walk forwards, inhale, and exhale, walk backwards. Inhale forwards, and exhale backwards. 2 more times. Hold back in that seated half split. And then walk your hands forward. Press your hands into the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Lift up, low runner's lunge. Plant your right hand. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling. Simple twist. And exhale, left hand comes down to the mat. Slide your left foot back, downward facing dog. Pedaling out your feet here. Side to side. On your next inhale, come up onto your tippy toes, walk to the top of the mat, meeting in a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. And exhale, hands come back behind you. Clasp them together, puff your chest up towards the ceiling, keeping your pelvis slightly tucked under so that your back doesn't arch too much. And exhale, forward fold. Hands stay together. Release your hands towards the front of the room, staying clasped. Keep a slight bend in your knees in this forward fold. And on your next exhale, bring your hands up towards your bum and release your hands down to the mat. Stay here. If you need to find a deeper bend to make this forward fold comfortable in your back, go ahead and bend into your knees as deeply as you need to find that forward fold. Or find your legs straightened and your hands come back behind your calves, giving a slight hug to your legs. On your next inhale, release your hands, walk your hands up your legs, hands sweep up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Step your right foot back, low runner's lunge on the left side. Bend into your right knee and stand up. Coming into a 90-degree bend in your right knee and your left knee. Draw your right heel up towards your bum, grabbing onto your foot, pulling it in towards your bum. Keep your hips squared towards the front of the room, and then tuck your pelvis under. Tucking your pelvis under means going like this. Instead of here, you tuck it under. That pubic bone goes under. This elongates the hip flexor on the right side. So when you pull your foot up and you just tuck it under, it increases that stretch on the right side. Beautiful. If this doesn't feel like anything to you, you don't have a sensation in your right quad, another option is to make your stance a little more wide, coming into that Anjayasana. Grab onto your foot, hook your elbow around your toes, bring your fingertips up near your foot, and take your left hand back to meet the right. You can hold there if you need just a little bit more in this posture. Otherwise, stay here. And release your right foot down to the mat. Bring your left knee down, right foot out to the front. Tuck your pelvis under. Bring your left foot up to meet your left glute. Left hand pulls that left foot in. Keep your hips squared to the front of your mat. Pelvis is tucked, nice and tall. Again, the same option is here for you if you need a little bit more. You can come into that Anjayasana. Bring your left foot in towards your hand. Take your left elbow around to your left foot. Hand comes up towards your left ear. Grab onto your left hand with your right. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling. You can stay there if that feels good for you. Or stay with this 90-90 quad pull. And exhale, release your left foot down to the mat. Hands come down to frame your right foot. Tuck your left toes under. Send your right foot back. Downward facing dog. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Roll forward, high plank. Drop down onto your knees and send your feet over to the left side. Your feet are kind of crisscrossed. Your right foot is in by your hip, and then your left foot just comes on the front side. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead, and exhale, left hand to the top of your right knee, right hand back behind you. Staying here. On your next inhale, twist forward, sweep your hands up overhead, and rock forward. Take your feet over to the other side. Your left foot is in by your glute, and then your right foot is just right in front of it. Inhale, hands up overhead, and exhale, right hand to your left knee, left hand back behind you, twisting into this posture. Inhale, hands up overhead and rock onto your bum. Feet come out in front of you. Take your hands out in front of you and slowly start to come onto your back. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Plant your left foot on the mat. Take your right ankle onto the top of your left quad and pull that left leg in. Staying here. If this is just a little too much for you, option is to keep the left foot planted. Right hand comes to the top of the right knee, keeping both hips evenly on the mat. Lift your right foot up into the air, plant it on the mat, and then bring your left knee in towards your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. And then take left ankle on top of right leg, press it away with your hand, or bring your right knee in towards your chest, coming into that figure four. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up into the air. Bring your right foot up to meet it. Let your toes point towards the ceiling and then down towards your face. Start to find ankle rolls in one direction here. I'll let you know when we're halfway and you can switch it, speeding your ankle rolls up or slowing them down, feeling each part of the roll in your ankle. And switch directions. Feel the muscular engagement on the bottoms of your feet when you roll your toes towards the ceiling. And then the anterior shin muscles engaging as you pull your toes in towards your body. And bring your knees in towards your chest. Go ahead and release your left leg long, right knee stays in towards your chest. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee and pull that right knee over to the left side of the mat. Take your right hand out to the side in a T position and take your gaze over towards that right hand, coming into a supine twist. Inhale, bring your knee back in towards your chest. And then open it up to the right side. Right hand is on the inside of the right knee, pulling it out to the side. Left hand is stretched out long. You can stay here, or if you would like a little bit more on the back of your leg, you can grab onto your foot and extend it long. Up to you. Keep the left hip on the mat the whole time. We're here for 3 more breaths. On your next inhale, bring your right knee in towards your chest. Curl up to meet your right knee with your forehead and switch legs. Coming into your left leg, pull that knee in and release your shoulders down to the mat. Take your right hand to the top of your left knee and pull it over to the right side of the mat. Taking your left hand out to the left side, find your supine twist. Inhale, bring your left knee in towards your chest. Take your left hand to the inside of your left knee and pull it out to the side. Right hand stretched out to the side. Inhale, bring your left knee in. Lift your right foot up, bringing your right knee in to meet the left. Pull up into Vipassana and rock forwards and backwards. Massaging out your spine, resting on your back. Send your feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to go into Happy Baby next. The first way to enter Happy Baby is having your feet down by your heels, feet down by your hips. Take your hands to the insides of your knees and just pull your knees out to the side, letting them drape towards the mat. The next option is to send your feet up towards the ceiling. Take your feet hands to the outside of your feet and pull your knees in towards your shoulders. Keep your low back imprinted on the mat, regardless of which one you choose to take. Allowing this to open up your hips, your groin. Breathing here. On your next inhale, release your feet up towards the ceiling. Bring your knees in towards your chest, Upasana. Rock forwards and backwards, coming into a seated posture. Go ahead and bring your feet together to touch. Sitting up nice and tall. Hands come down to your feet. Breathing here. Option, walk your hands out, finding a forward fold. Second option, release your feet out a little further and walk your hands out into a forward fold here. Whatever's accessible for you. The point is to be letting your knees come down towards the mat, opening up your hip flexors, and bringing your forehead down to create a deeper stretch there and a little bit of a stretch in your back body possibly. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands towards your body, curl your spine up vertebrae by vertebrae, and you can release your feet. That is all for today. Thank you so much for joining our restorative yoga flow for opening up your hips and legs. If that has been enough for you, incredible. If you'd like to do more, we have playlists from yoga, Pilates, HIIT, and then mindfulness and breathwork meditations. So if you'd like to check out those playlists, it's there for you. If it's been enough, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you back here tomorrow.